You finally broke into the UFC now. What was the actual surrounding about that? Because it was a last minute fight, right?
Yeah, for sure. Look, yeah, it was good that I finally got my foot into the door and I got into the UFC, but also having your first professional loss on the world's biggest stage, it's like a double-edged sword. Yes, I got into the UFC, but also, being a little bit embarrassed by the way the fight went and just, just the way the fight went completely. So, yes, it's good being in the UFC, but also losing in front of a full packed out stadium also is a bit embarrassing and sucks. Your first loss.
And speaking of that, like full packed stadium, like how was it? I mean, obviously you've been on the national circuit. Like, did you like walking in, or is it just now reflecting on it that you realize like the difference? Or as you were making that walk to the cage, could you sense a difference between, say, fighting, I guess, for like urban fight nights or I don't know who else?
Yeah, super fight or
super fight.
Yeah, for sure. Like the obviously the size of the crowd made a big difference. But more so like it's something that you've always dreamed of. When I first started doing MMA, I always dreamt of being in the UFC, and to finally be doing it, and it's sort of just, it's just sort of like all hit you at once when you're walking out, and you could have all these people screaming, and the camera is on you, the lights are on you, your music's playing, and it's just sort of like it's surreal. Like you've pictured yourself do this walk, so many times, and then for it to finally be happening, it's kind of mind-boggling.
And was it the way you pitched it?
It was actually a lot less than what I imagined. I thought it would have been a lot bigger, maybe because I have pictured it in my mind so many times that it just became like another walkout. But it was obviously a lot different than fighting in a basketball court or fighting in like a little PCYC hole or something like that. It's obviously different.
And what about backstage warming up? Was there a different energy?
To be honest, no, not really. Like, it was the same. I still had my coach. I still had my brother hitting pads with me, warming up. There wasn't too much difference, but like obviously warming up and seeing all these other UFC fighters next to you warming up as well, it was kind of surreal. But at the end of the day, it was the same as usual. Business is business.
And so what was the, what was all the conditions around that first fight? I mean, obviously it was late notice. Do you know who you replaced?
I actually replaced a good friend of mine in Jamie Malaki. He had an injury. I think this was when he did his back and he needed surgery. And before he pulled out, he actually messaged me and told me, Josh, just giving you a heads up. I know you want to get into UFC, and I reckon you should put your name out there and get your first hand in and sort of jump at it. And so I took him on his advice, and exactly that. So it finally happened.